Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be discussing the tortured and troubled life of one of music's biggest icons, Nirvana's frontman, singer, guitarist and songwriter Kurt Cobain, as well as the conspiracy theories regarding his death. Buckle up and enjoy the ride. Kurt Cobain was born on February 20th, 1967 in Aberdeen, Washington, USA. The son of waitress Wendy Elizabeth Fradenberg and mechanic Donald Leland Cobain. As a young kid, he was always surrounded by music, given that most of his family were amateur musicians who used to play small shows throughout Gray Harbor County. Kurt was described as a happy child who also exhibited lots of sensitivity and care towards others. He was already a pretty good illustrator, drawing the characters he liked from films and cartoons, such as Creature from the Black Lagoon and Donald Duck in his bedroom. Like his family before him, he also started to develop a deep interest in music, began singing at the age of 2 and at age 4 started learning the piano. It was reported that around the same time, the 4-year-old Kurt wrote his very first song about the trip in the park with his family. He also used to perform covers, mainly of his favorite band, the Beatles. When he was 9 years old, his parents divorced, which greatly affected Kurt, and his personality completely changed. He became defiant and withdrawn, saying in an 1993 interview that as a child he desperately wanted a typical normal family and that he was ashamed of his parents after the divorce. Both of his parents started new families and Kurt went on to live with his father and his new wife, Jenny Westerby, who had 2 children from a previous marriage. Kurt at first liked his stepmom, but that changed on January 1979 when they had a new son, and that angered Kurt as he felt left out. He started getting very rebellious towards adults, so his father tried to place him with his extended family, which didn't work cause no one could handle him. So he ended up back at his father's house, who at that time had the full custody of him. In high school, he was both a bully and bullied. Bullied for the fact that he was friends with a gay student, so by default other pupils targeted him with an F slur, despite him being straight. In later interviews, Kurt said he liked the idea of people thinking of him as gay, just to enrage the homophobes. It was the second year of high school that he really began his journey into the punk rock scene, which started when he met Buzz Osborne, singer for the Melvins, and went on to see the show at which they were playing, and it completely blew his mind. He became obsessed with punk rock music, so much so that his grades started falling substantially and he didn't have enough credits to graduate, so he dropped out of high school in the last year. His mom, with whom he had been living at the time, gave him an ultimatum: either find a job or pack his bags and move out of her house. He chose the latter and in a week's time moved out, lived at friends' houses and even under the bridge over Wishika River, an experience which inspired the song Something in the Way. In early 1985, he formed the band Fecal Matter, a joke band which disbanded the following year in 1986. That year he also met a girl named Tracy Marander, and although the love was strong, the relationship soon fell apart due to his inability to find a job. She was the inspiration behind the Nirvana song About a Girl. Speaking of Nirvana, Kurt formed the band in 1987 along with bassist Chris Novoselic and released their first album Bleach in 1989. It was Tracy who made the cover art for the album. Soon after Cobain's separation from Tracy, he met Toby Vale, the drummer for the band Bikini Kill, and she introduced him to the punk ethos and DIY mentality. It was reported that Cobain, when first meeting Toby, threw up due to so much infatuation with her. This inspired the lyrics "Love you so much, it makes me sick" from the song Aneurysm. Although Nirvana were a band for over 4 years, it was September 24th, 1991 that was the breakthrough year for the band, and that breakthrough was the album Nevermind. Described as a grunge album, the songs contained punk aggression and pop songwriting. Most notably, the song Smells Like Teen Spirit, which completely blew up and changed music forever. Other important tracks were Lithium, In Bloom, and Come As You Are. But success came with a price. You see, Kurt being a punk rock soul, he hated the idea of the media and labels controlling the band like they were some kind of puppets. So for their next album, he decided to almost completely abandon the accessible pop songwriting for a more distorted, almost noise rock sound. The album was called In Utero, released on September 21st, 1993, supported by 3 singles: Heart-Shaped Box, All Apologies, and Penny Royalty. Many of the song's lyrics dealt with Kurt's depression and his worsening addiction to heroin, as well as other drugs. By 1994, his state only got worse, and on the morning of March 4th, 1994, while in Rome, Italy, his wife, Courtney Love, found him unconscious. He had overdosed on a mix of champagne and pills. He was rushed to the hospital and was saved, but remained unconscious for the entirety of the next day. Courtney claimed that the overdose was Kurt's suicide attempt. On the day of March 25th, 1994, Courtney, along with his friends, organized an intervention for Cobain's drug use. He hesitantly agreed to undergo a detox program, and on March 30th flew to Los Angeles, California to check into the facility. He only stayed there for 2 days before escaping and buying a plane ticket back to Seattle. On April the 8th, 1994, Cobain's body was discovered. He was found in his house along with a suicide note addressed to his childhood imaginary friend Boda. In the note, Cobain stated he stopped feeling the excitement in listening and writing music. It was reported that his body was laying there for days. The coroner's report estimated that he died on April 5th, 1994, at the age of just 27. But some people think that Kurt Cobain didn't die by suicide at all. Instead, they believe he was murdered. You see, before he took the rifle and pulled the trigger, he reportedly took a very, very large amount of heroin, which would make it practically impossible to take a rifle, put it in his mouth, and pull the trigger. So this takes us to the first conspiracy theory. Many people think that his wife, Courtney Love, murdered Cobain. The two had a very difficult and toxic relationship while being married, and it was said that Kurt planned on divorcing her without giving her a penny from his estate, so she decided to pull the trigger. The second conspiracy theory, and the way more popular one, is that Courtney hired a man named Eldon Hawke, aka El Duce, the drummer and singer for the shock rock band The Mentors, to kill Kurt Cobain. He even admitted it on numerous talk shows, and at one point even passing a lie detector test for this bizarre claim. He said that he didn't have it in him to do the job, so he got his friend, a man named Alan, reportedly being a guy named Alan Ranch from the band Kill Alan Ranch, to do the job. Now I'm going to play you a footage from a Nick Broomfield 1998 documentary called Kurt and Courtney, where El Duce admits that he was paid $50,000 from Courtney to whack Kurt Cobain.
You did some deal with Courtney, right?
Yeah. She offered me 50 grand to whack Kurt Cobain. Yeah.
This was the last footage of El Duce, because on April 19th, 1997, he was decapitated by a train while he was drunk and trying to pass the train tracks. His infamous interview being just 8 days before this is also pretty suspicious, but I guess we will never know what really happened to him nor to Kurt Cobain. What we do know is that Kurt Cobain was a great musician, frontman and songwriter who will live on for decades as a musical icon and an inspiration to many people who feel like they don't belong. And on that note, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a like and hit that subscribe button for more, and I will see you in the next one.